Okay, this video goes with worksheet 126 on the front, homework 126 on the back. It's over prefixes, over, pre, and under. Okay, so prefixes are something that are new for us. Now, we have talked about suffixes for most of the school year, and by now you know what suffixes are and where suffixes are added to the word. You should also know how we code a suffix. So pause the video here for a second and talk to somebody about those things. What is a suffix? Where does it go on a word? And how do we code it? Okay, if you told someone that a suffix is something that's added to the end of a base or root word to change the meaning, and you box it to code it, you are absolutely correct. So for a prefix, you are going to add it to the beginning of a word. In fact, pre means before. So we're going to take a look at some words over here on the board with the suffix pre, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the meaning of pre. Okay, so take a look at pre-cook, pre-mix, preheat. Okay, pre-cook, pre-mix, preheat. So when you hear those words in your mind, you should automatically be thinking of something that many of you do at home when you use your oven. You preheat it. And that's something that you do before you can ever even put what you're about to cook in the oven. Okay, several of you love to watch football every year, and maybe your dad, mom, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, whoever you live with, maybe they like to watch the pre-game show. And it's actually called the pre-game show because it's a bunch of commentators sitting there talking about whatever game it is that they're about to show, and it comes on before the actual game, which is why it's called the pre-game show. So, prefix pre actually means before. Okay, so if you take a look at each of these words, you are going to box prefix pre. Now remember, when you see a prefix or a suffix and you go to box it, what's the one thing you have to make sure is left behind? That's right. You have to make sure that there is a base word or a root word left behind. That's how you determine whether you are dealing with a prefix or a suffix. So if we take a look at pre, cook, and we pull it off, cook is left behind. If we take off pre, mix is left behind. If we take off pre here, heat is left behind. So each of those have a root word or a base word that are left behind, which indicates that pre is indeed a prefix on each of these words. Okay? All right, we're going to take a look at 3 more words. Okay, so take a look at those words. See if you can identify on your own the prefix in each of those words. Okay, if you said under was the prefix in each of these words, you are correct. And again, when you remove under from these words, you're looking to see if you have a base or a root word left behind. We have feed left behind, pay left behind, pass left behind. Now, under is a fairly simple prefix because when you hear under, you know what under means. Okay? If you listen to it, underfeed. Underfeed. If you underfeed something, what are you doing? That's right. You're not feeding it enough, right? So, not enough would be a definition of under. Underpay. Again, if someone is underpaid, they're not getting enough of what they deserve, right? And then underpass. Now, if you've ever been anywhere where there's a bridge, then an underpass is something that's going to be below that, right? So the meaning of under is below or not enough. Okay, prefix under, below, or not enough. All right, let's take a look at 3 more. Okay, take a look at these 3 words. See if you can identify the prefix in each of these words. If you said box over, you are correct. Again, when you pull over off of these words, you are left with feed, pay, pass. Okay, now most of you know what over means, okay, above. So let's take a look at each of these words and identify the meaning. Overfeed. Okay, if you overfeed your dog, then you have fed your dog too much. So one meaning of prefix over is too much. Overpay. If you overpay someone, you paid them too much. Overpass. Okay, again, dealing with the bridge, an overpass would be something that is above. Okay, so definitions for prefix over are above or too much. Okay, so again, these are all prefixes. All right, prefix is kind of easy to remember that it means before because we talked about pre meaning before. You can hear pre in the word prefix, which reminds you that a prefix comes before a base or a root word to change the meaning of a word. Okay? Now, we didn't do the remainder of the coding on those other words, but you're going to code the remainder of the words just like you've done all year. For example, overfeed, you can see that you have EE digraph, long E, silent E in that one. Okay? Overpay, you can see you've got AY digraph, which is long A, silent Y. Okay? Down here, you've got flosseral S, short A, because that comes in between the 2 consonants for overpass. Okay? If you have any questions about that, let me know.